There's laws, there's more. We've heard of something called a warranty deed. Who's heard of a warranty deed? What about a quitclaim deed? Yeah, those are something, okay, so we're gonna talk about those. One interesting thing about deeds as we transfer title is they may or may not contain warrants or guarantees. So what do you want? When are we gonna do it? What is the appropriate time to use them? We're gonna talk about that. And they may or may not create liabilities. Next, when we secure property, unless everybody out there has like $1 billion in reserve, right? We at some point in our investing career might want to borrow money to purchase property, right? The instruments we use to do that are called notes and then mortgages or deeds of trust. So what do? Well, notes are really important because it's a promise to pay. This is how people are willing to give us money. We give them a promise to pay them back, right? But to be valid, you have to have some specific parties in there, terms, purpose and use, and then scope and use. Really, really important key factors to make that document enforceable and valid. And then we go to the security instrument. Now, notes and security instruments like deeds of trust and mortgage work hand in hand. They can be enforceable independent of each other, but they are not most effective unless they work together. So we're going to explain how that works a little bit, okay? A couple of things that are important in the deed of trust or mortgage is this is where we find out what is securing our note. So this is how we figure out what is collateralizing our promissory note or the money that we borrowed, right? So do you think this thing right here is kind of important to the lender?
Yes.
Or our investor? Yeah, they kind of like these. They're really important to them. So a couple other things. You have to create consistency between the two documents to make sure they're enforceable. And then we have this special word down here, which I love. It's a hard word. It's kind of hard to love a hard word. But default. What does default mean?
Oops.
Say that again.
Perform the duties of the contract.
Of a contract. Yes, that's like a textbook definition. What's your name?
Shelley.
Shelley. Everybody give Shelley a round of applause. Failure to comply with the contractual obligation is considered default. Okay? And so we need to know what happens or what the processes involved in default are. We're going to talk a little bit about that today too. Okay, so let's look at type of vesting deeds. These are the way we transfer property. There's a quitclaim deed. Has anybody ever heard of a quitclaim deed versus a quitclaim deed?
Oh.
They're not real, I promise. Quitclaim deeds, and sometimes it's a misnomer. We hear that in our minds, and our minds go very fastly, and we think, oh man, quitclaim deeds are fast. And it's really not. The only type of deed that there is a quitclaim deed. And it's called a quitclaim deed. Why? What do we do when we sign a quitclaim deed to a property? We quit our claim. We're saying we no longer have a right or entitlement to that property. It's really an interesting thing. Is this a great way to receive property? Sometimes, yeah. Do we get guarantees with it? No, there's no guarantees. All that person or entity is saying is, you know what? I have no more obligation on that property. It's really interesting. Okay, let's look at the next one. There's two types of deeds that we're most common with, which is a warranty deed and a special warranty deed. Who knows what a warranty deed does? Transfers title, just like we've talked about. What's different between it and a quitclaim deed? There is a guarantee. We get a warranty or a promise of performance against it. So then why do we see these things called special warranty deeds?
Special.
They are special. Why are they special? Who knows what's special about them? An interesting thing about a special warranty deed is it limits the liability of the person, the grantor, who's transferring the property, to only the time of their ownership. How long has property been around? Forever, right? How long have you been around? Not that long, not as long. I promise, no one has been around as long as property. Brian's getting close. He's getting up there. So the idea is that a seller of property can come in and say, hey, I will give you a guarantee that when I transfer title to this property, you have your rights of enjoyment to it. But I'm only going to guarantee that it's going to be free of encumbrance during my time of ownership, whether it's the last 6 months, 6 years, or 60 years. He's saying, I can only guarantee what I know. I'm gonna limit my liability. So as a real basic question, as investors, how do we want to receive property into our portfolios? By which document? Warranty deed, right? We have more guarantees. As sellers, how do we want to give property away? Special warranty deed, right? This isn't always possible in contract law, but it's something that we want to work towards. As investors, we need to be aware of the difference and know how to build it to be an advantage to our portfolio, right? And how we transfer property. Are there other kinds of deeds? Your hand say yes. Yes, right? What's this one? Trustee's deed. Does anybody know how you get a trustee's deed? Who says auction? Raise your hand. Nice job. So give them a round of applause right now. So trustee's deeds are ways that we transfer property by a trustee at the end of the foreclosure process through an auction or what they call a trustee sale. Are these desirable? Do people like trustee's deeds? Are we okay receiving title that way? Yeah, these actually, some people will look at trustee's deeds as even having a little bit better position than a warranty deed. Even though there's no warrant or guarantee,